Hello, everyone. Let me do this. Go back here. Hello, everybody. How are you guys? This is Lisa with Heart of Inspiration. I got to bring up my chat, so I apologize. Let me bring this chat up so I can see everything, you guys. Everyone. Okay, do this. We're going to wait for the notifications to go out. Hello, Miss Mary. How are you, dear? Hi. Hey, Dawn. Hey, Deanna. Hey, Tawanda. Hi there. Hello, Jasmine. All right, guys. We're going to put this out here. Hello, Steph. How are you, love? All right. Let me see if I can get to this. Perfect. All right. Okay, guys. You just got back from the gym. That's awesome. All right. We're just going to let this be out here just for a few more minutes. We'll do a little housekeeping. For those of you that are watching the replay or you're new here as you come in here at this channel, we help you lead a spirit-led, whole and healed, peaceful and prosperous life. And tonight, during this live, we're going to talk about releasing the victim mentality. Oh, let me hide that chat. Oh, I didn't know it was working. Move this over here. All right. Releasing the victim mentality. As part of a series I started a long time ago of limiting beliefs, breaking limiting beliefs. And I really felt it was very important to come to you tonight to discuss this because I'm seeing it show up in a lot of different ways. Hey, Sarah, how are you? Hey, Giggle Glimmer. I'm seeing it show up in a lot of different ways. And I really wanted to talk about this as part of, sometimes we talk about our, getting over the toxic relationships. And we talk a lot about, manifestation and all of these things and spiritual gifts. And so the victim mentality is something that we fall into, unfortunately, and we don't necessarily even realize it, and we don't even realize how it displays itself, okay? How it shows up in our lives. And it is something that is rather insidious. It will creep up on you. And we've got to get out of being a victim in order to truly become an empowered soul. Okay? Hey, blessings, Cassandra. I need to open something up here, so y'all just bear with me one quick second. I shouldn't have closed it. So this is really a very important thing for me to discuss with you guys tonight. Now, as I'm doing a little more housekeeping, I just want to let you guys know that and remind you guys that throughout the remainder of this month of April, I'm doing my first subscriber giveaway. So please like, and then once this video is done and uploaded, put a comment down there below. And if you are a current subscriber, you'll get one entry into the drawing for a $50 Amazon gift card. If, as you guys refer more people and more people begin to come to subscribe, tell them to subscribe, like, and comment and say, someone sent me. So it could be Steph McCoy sent me, or Sarah Worsham sent me, and whomever, and then you'll get an additional entry into the drawing. So I'm running it from any video I uploaded yesterday all the way through the 30th of April. And then on May 1st, we're going to do a big drawing. Okay. So, let's begin to bring more people into this collective together. And I want to show my appreciation to my subscribers for all that you do, for the support, for being here, for being open, for all of the things, right? All of the things. Yeah. So that's what we're going to be doing, for this remainder. Yes, you do get caught up, don't we? All right. All right. So hey, SR, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while. All right. Let's begin. Okay. So I'm going to talk about first what the victim mentality is. Okay. Victim mentality. Here is a clinical definition, okay, of victim mentality. Hey, Brochet, girl, what's going on? I need to just let some more people come on in here. Come on in the room. Yes, one night we just going to come on and I'm going to have a call in and we all going to sing our gospel songs, honey. We're going to sing our gospel songs. Deanna, you be as selfish as you want to be, you all. I'll explain in another live or something why I'm doing this, but really it's honestly, we need to increase our group. The collective needs to grow. And there is such a grand awakening that's going on now. I feel it's just like a push, an impetus, it's a need. It's a need. I have to do this, right? I have to do this. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Oh, I need to text one more person. You guys bear with me 1 second because missing somebody here. Missing somebody. Missing a couple people's. Missing a couple people's. One more person I'm missing. Bear with me one moment and then we're going to go on and get sorted. All right, here we go. So I apologize for you watching the replay. I will go on and edit some of this so that we don't end up with all this. All right, here we are. I miss you too, honey. Victim mentality. Can you guys read that slide? I'm going to read it to you. The clinical or definition of victim mentality. Victim mentality is an acquired personality trait in which a person tends to recognize themselves as a victim of the negative actions of others and to behave as if this were the case in the face of contrary evidence of such circumstances. And I'm going to say they tend to recognize themselves as a victim of the negative actions or perceived negative actions of others. Because sometimes, okay, we can perceive an action by another person as negative, when in reality, it was not. Okay, beloveds? We can recognize it as negative even when it is not actually a negative thing. So, hey, I'm Virgo sun. So, when, and let me put it to you another way. So someone that is in a victim mentality someone can do something, right? And maybe they've made a statement about them or a general statement, and it wasn't even directed at them. But they perceive it as an attack, or they perceive it as something negative towards them when they were just either making a statement of fact or whatever was going on in their own personal life. And all of a sudden now, oh my goodness, look what you did to me. Right? So I want to stress a couple of things here. Hey, Angelic Quest. Victim mentality is an acquired personality trait. We got to remember that. an acquired personality trait. All right? In which the person recognizes themselves as a victim of the negative actions or perceived negative actions of others, and to behave as if this were the case in the face of contrary evidence. So you could show this person, look, they weren't really doing this to you. And if you possess a victim mentality and this permeates your being, then you're going to behave as if it were an attack in all cases, if you have fallen into a victim mentality. All right? Now, and I'm going to go through this stuff kind of quick, but kind of not. All right. Now, that then means because it's an acquired personality trait, that then says victims are created. If you've been with me at all, and if you haven't been with me, go back to some of my previous YouTube videos on narcissism. There should be a playlist on toxic relationships. It's probably called Later, Later, Life After Toxic Relationships. And Brochet will talk about that. Brochet says a lot of things happened to me when I was little that caused me a lot of emotional and mental imbalance. People never gave me an apology or acknowledged it. No, that is not you having a victim mentality. That's not it. What would be it? And we'll talk about a little bit further how this develops, okay? So let me put this out here right now. I am not victim shaming when I do this. I want you all to hear me and hear me well. I am not victim shaming. Actually, what I'm doing by talking about coming out of a victim mentality is victim empowering. I am empowering you to heal to the point and get beyond the hurt. And we'll talk about this in a little bit. Very little bit. Get to the point where you do no longer have the capacity to be a victim. Yes, very good. Mary, you're talking about the darn narcissist. God dang it, you're stealing my thunder. Listen, let me go back to what I was saying just a moment ago. I spoke in previous teaching, and when I edit this, I'm going to put that in there in the replay, a link. Narcissists are created. Remember, we've talked about this before. No one is born a narcissist. No one is born a victim. We are not born victims. Just like narcissists aren't born narcissists. We become victims or possess a victim mentality or develop a victim mentality. It's an acquired personality trait. So we take the personality trait on after tremendous injury. Sometimes that is not recognized. Sometimes that is long lasting, right? It's going on and on and on and on and on, right? It just seems to never end, and it finally comes to an end, but it's been going on for a long time. So tremendous, repeated injury, mentally, emotionally, or physically. Victim mentality can be caused by narcissistic abuse. The abuser has to have somebody to abuse. Most victimizers they truly are not going to apologize. Yes, environmental factors. So, it is can be caused by narcissistic abuse. Here you have an empath that is always trying to please the narcissist. Here you have the narcissist that's always saying, if you would have just done this, I wouldn't have done this. If you would have just done this, I wouldn't have done this. You never listen to me. You never believe in me. You never. Me. It's all about them, right? When it's all about them all the time. And we just want them to be happy. So what do? We take on all of the crap. We become the punching bag and the doormat. And the whipping boy and the whipping girl. Okay? So a victim mentality, and it begins to become a state of being, and we do develop a personality trait. We develop the personality trait so that we can fit into the relationship. So we can fit into the relationship in a cohesive, if you will, way, in a balanced way. Things have to be balanced. The only way we balance it is if we become that victim, because they are the abuser/aggressor. Victim mentality is very close to narcissism. If you go that far to having a victim mentality, because victim mentality can turn into passive aggressiveness or victim narcissism. Let me give you a case in point. A victim narcissist will continue to say, because remember what we said earlier, right? Remember what this slide said. Of the negative action of others. And to do that, basically, even as if this were the case, in the face of contrary evidence. So I have a person that I'm rather close to. Whatever. I should have a close relationship to. I'll just put it that way. That always says that people do not accept them. That the group is not inclusive of them. That they've never accepted them. So even if the group is doing something they may not be interested in, like, you know, a group of us might be going, for example, to see the Avengers Endgame. And this person is not a comic book nerd, not into the Avengers, not into any of that at all. But so that person is not a person I would invite to come along with the group. Why would I do that? This person also always has some sort of excuse as to why they can't come out, even for things that they would be interested in. They're not very interactive in the rest of the group. And yet, for some reason, the rest of us are not accepting of this person, we don't show this person love, blah, 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 blah. But they're the person that sits off in the corner, doesn't have much to say. They're the type of person that, you know, I don't get offended if you don't call me, you know, for 6-7 months at a time. I really don't, because life is busy for me too. I understand. It's not that big of a deal. It doesn't mean that I don't care about you. And I could pick right back up with you, and we ain't spoke on the phone for 7-8 months. It don't bother me like that. This person takes great offense to that. However, when you say, okay, well, let's connect every other week or something, you know, let's say every other Tuesday at 7 p.m., we're going to talk. You just catch up. But they can never make it at that point. And they never call anybody else in the group. So that person, but to hear that person tell other people they're being mistreated. That's victim mentality. That's victim mentality. If life always happens to you and you never happen to life, that's victim mentality. If glass half full, right, blames it on 3 failed marriages. Okay, right. So all this external stuff is the reason why they're like they are. Well, no, baby, that's not how I go. That ain't how I go. That's not how we gonna operate right now. Right? So victim mentality is this mentality that everything is always happening to them. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Does that not sound vaguely familiar? Does that not sound like what a narcissist says? Everybody's always after them. They've all been cheated on. They've all been lied on. Blah, 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 blah. Everything happens to them, right? To them. Does that not sound like a narcissist? And if it can get to the point where someone has had a major event in their lives and maybe could not fully explain why or fully tell you that it was happening at the time it was happening because they couldn't, for whatever their reasons were. They were embarrassed. They were not in a good place. They didn't think you could handle it. Whatever the case was, if something major is happening in their lives and they weren't able to tell you about it at that moment, and instead of looking, once they are able to tell you, looking past that and seeing the reason why, seeing maybe the reason why they weren't completely upfront and honest about it while it was going on, and instead of seeing that and looking at them and their humanity, you immediately take it on yourself and say, oh, well, they lied and they this and they meant to, they're just trying to hurt me and cause me pain and stuff. That sounds very narcissistic. So this is the danger sometimes that we fall into when we stay in narcissistic relationships, or when we're subjected to severe narcissism as a child or as a teenager, is we begin to take on the traits of the abuser, Stockholm Syndrome. Yes, Mary, narcissism is in a different format. I'm simply showing the similarities. It is a different format, but it is the same. There's a very similar underlying theme there. Emotional and spiritual abuse can manifest itself in our lives in different ways. Not everyone is going to turn into a narcissist that is raised by a narcissist. Hello, Miss Townsend. Not everyone will. We are all going to react to it a bit differently. There'll probably be some similarities in different types of personality groups and whatnot. But we're all not going to react to it exactly in the same way. What I have observed, and I've observed this in my own family, so I'm speaking from intimate knowledge and experience, that some move into the victim mentality. Two sides of the same coin. Some move in the victim mentality because if you are able to process it in such a way that you have no accountability in what's happening, that it's happening to you, and you have no power to do anything about it, okay? It helps some people deal with it. And then that victim mentality can also be that shield. It can keep you going back to more narcissists, or it can keep you so solitary because everybody is going to do this to you, right? You just shut everything off. All men if you're a woman, or all women if you're a man, or whatever. Anybody you are in relationship with inevitably will turn out to be a narcissist, and you never want to expose yourself to that again. Do you see what I'm saying? While they're different, they're similar. And if a person with victim mentality is created, it is an acquired personality trait. Much like narcissism is an acquired personality trait when it gets big. And if we can all agree that narcissism develops in a person because of severe trauma in them that has happened to them, and then narcissistic parents tend to make narcissistic children. How? Because they victimize their children. They abuse their children in a different way sometimes, most times. They can make narcissistic children. But I would say that I've met a good chunk of the narcissists that I have met or encountered are people that have narcissistic traits, because you can have a lot of strong traits without having the personality disorder. That is a very, very, that's a diagnosis, right? That's a way out here thing. I find a lot of them have been typically sexually or severely physically abused. But not everyone reacts to abuse the same way. They just don't. So not all abuse victims become narcissists, and not all narcissistic abuse victims become develop a victim mentality. But I think some of us do to some degree, and we have to recognize that. Okay? We have to recognize that, because if we don't recognize that there is the possibility that we are operating in some areas of our lives in a victim mentality, then we are not actually able to then look at ourselves objectively and allow ourselves to heal. Does that make sense? So let's move a little forward. Because, I like to set the stage, and then let's find our way out of it if we're going to release this. So, victim versus victor. So to me, the opposite of being a victim is being a victor. I have the victory. I am not subjected to other people's crap. Right? I am not the recipient of other people's negativity. I'm not the recipient of other people's negativity. So victim versus victor. A victim consistently injured. And that was some of the examples I gave. That someone can be doing something quite innocently and really no one else gets offended or hurt, but they're consistently injured. Okay? If you find that you are consistently injured all the time, and I'm going to talk about me here, because there's some areas of my life I fell into a victim mentality. A victor is consistently healed. My case in point, I consistently was in relationships where either someone cheated or someone laughed or it wasn't fulfilling or I gave my all, and heartbreak. What was the basis for that? I didn't love myself. What did I do to become the victor in that area of my life? I began to heal. I began to love myself. I began to seek out what was the injury. Where did the injuries occur? And then allowed love to heal. Victims tend to, like I said, life happens to them. They don't happen to life. So I was always putting myself in a position where, like I had to be chosen, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? It's really hard to describe sometimes because I'm so not that person anymore. Or I would give and give and give and give and give and make happy. If I really am honest, I did that all throughout my life, all the way up until maybe even recently. But definitely it all came to a head during the narcissistic marriage. Okay? And I would say up until recently, because I finally have been able to like speak up and say, guess what? This is really what I need in a relationship. And this is really who I am. And this is really what I want. I need to understand what's the problem, why we're not connecting. I'm not going to go much deeper into that, but that's what was going on. A victim is powerless. Someone that has developed a victim mentality feels powerless to make any changes or to right or correct a relationship or a situation. In any situation, they're powerless. Oh, I can't. There's nothing I can do about it. The victor is empowered. So if once I decided I was not going to be someone's love doormat anymore, I no longer felt powerless to quote unquote keep a man. I'm now empowered to be the queen. Period. I have the power. I have the power to decide, am I going to deal with you? I have the power to decide, am I not? I have the power to decide, okay, wait a minute now. I hear what you're saying to me. I might not really agree or like it. And maybe this is just a interpersonal interaction. I just can't. Right? Now I'm empowered. Okay? If I don't like a business relationship, if it ain't working, you know, if you do something that I'm like, man, that was bogus. Before I used to feel powerless, like I just had to kind of grin and bear it. Now I feel empowered to say, hey, look, we're going to do things decent and in order. That was neither decent nor in order. I don't come at you sideways, but I darn for sure am not fixing to have, this is what we not fitting to do. Right? I'm empowered in every area of my life. I now have control over that. I now know that I can manifest my best life. That I don't have to wait for something or someone to do for me. That I can create my reality. Okay? So victim, if someone that has been subjugated or has developed a victim mentality feels powerless in just about every area. Now, I know we say victim mentality and there's this negative connotation to it. I'm not trying to put this negative connotation to it because it is what it is. So let's take the negative connotation out and let's just look at it And I'm not saying that the victim mentality can't develop for a legitimate reason, because it can. What I am saying is that if we recognize that this is what's going on in our lives, we can then decide that is not what we want out of life. Remember, the title here is Releasing the Victim Mentality, Breaking Limiting Beliefs. If you are living in that column of victim, you are not living in the column of victor. You are limiting your belief system about yourself, and you are limiting your ability to co-create and manifest and be the best you can possibly be. All right? It's not always good tasting medicine, but it's necessary. A victim says, it's not my fault. A victor takes accountability for their part. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. And Mary, I'm going to answer your question in just a moment. What do I mean by that? I'm speaking for myself. And I'm speaking as an adult. When things happen to you as a child or as a teenager, I am not saying you have the accountability for a part in that. Let me make that abundantly clear. Abundantly clear. When you become an adult, your part then becomes being accountable to your own healing. Being accountable to yourself, being accountable to your ability to be empowered and overcome all the obstacles that have been set in front of you. Okay? So I just want to... Did you miss Steph? So I want to put that out there because I don't want anybody getting any ideas. So let me talk about my own life, because I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I've been very open about my second marriage. And I have been very open, those of you that have been with me for a while. I have been very open about the fact that I blew past every yellow and red flashing light that was thrown up in my face to say, don't get married to this one. And at some point, I knowingly and willingly, so that I would be loved, so that I would be married, so that I would fit into the social constructs and norms, socially acceptable, I allowed all of that to happen. Even though the very core of my being was like, this isn't right, we're going down a bad path, you're just not even really paying attention. Right, giggle. I had to, at some point, take accountability for the fact that as an empath, I was much more comfortable attempting to fix someone else than I was attempting to fix myself. Way easier. Way easier. Now, when it was all over, I could have just simply said, he did, 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 he did. And therefore now, this is the reason why I am like I am. I could have. And I could have turned out to be a very bitter, angry woman. And would have probably, in most people's eyes, had every right to be. But I had to take what level of accountability I had in that situation. Own it, forgive myself for it, figure out why in the heck I did it in the first darn place, and heal. Back to healing. Become empowered. Back to the empowerment. Right? Hey, Shemaya. Giggle says, mainly because when you own your part in giving away your power, the first thing you tell people is that it's not your fault. And it's not, but owning your part helps you learn to not redo it. Exactly. Being in the higher self is hard when sometimes dealing with the worldly self and trying to decide what response or thoughts to have. It is, exactly. It is. But it is not impossible. And that's the beautiful thing. When someone is has this victim mentality to the point where it's really a real huge problem, though, they'll do things to hurt the other person. It's like that passive aggressive thing. They'll do things to hurt the other person or another person, and then they'll turn around and kind of say the same thing that the narcissist would say. Well, that's not my fault. You have to understand, you hurt me in this way. Therefore, I'm going to react this way because you hurt me in this way. And even if what they did really wasn't directed at them, and even if what they did, even if it did have some consequence, you're not understanding the why behind the what. See, at some point when we grow spiritually and grow in our awakened life, hey Melvin, to help heal someone so long as they ask for it and want to do it. Yes, but we're going to get to that in a minute, Giggle. At some point, we have to get to this point as spiritual people on our ascension journey that we are willing to take responsibility for our crap. And then at some point, you should be growing in wisdom to the point where, and growing in love and loving the other person, loving another, that you can look at them and say, man, that was really screwed up what you did. Now, I ain't gonna lie, that was messed up. But I see you with eyes of compassion and love. And I understand it wasn't directed at me. So instead of being a victim to circumstances, I'm going to be the victor over them. This is a different mentality. This is shedding the victim. This is shedding it. Shedding a victim mentality and instead embracing and allowing to grow a victor's mentality. A victor's personality, a victor's embodiment, a victor's reality. Someone who knows that they're constantly the victor in life, they have the victory in life, they don't go around with their head down. Oh, I don't know. Hopefully somebody will give me this, and hopefully somebody will give me a job, and hopefully somebody will give me... Hopefully my Prince Charming will come along on a white horse. Hopefully my queen will ride up in her chariot. I got a news flash. They ain't coming. Next time I'll be greater. I'll be my own savior. They ain't coming. And you wouldn't want them to come because you don't need to get saved from everything. You can actually rise up and be empowered and take control of your life. Like you are from Winnie the Pooh. Exactly. Adulting is work. And the final, I just wanted to put 4 different points so we could kind of understand the difference between victim and victor. Constantly disrespected. If you're always, everybody disrespect you, don't nobody show you in any respect, right? Well, you have to look at your own set of self. You have to look at your own self-esteem. That's harsh. I get it. That's harsh. Do you respect yourself? Is that the energy you're giving off? That you respect yourself? Because if it's not, why should someone else respect you? Operating in a victim mentality can be this. How many people do y'all know go from relationship to relationship, be it male or female, relationship to relationship, the darn sheets don't get cold, but they want to be respected and honored and loved and cherished? Really? That's what we doing? That's what we calling it? Because baby, you're not showing yourself any respect. Hey, Vernell. You don't give off that energy. And you wonder why they talk to you any old kind of way. And you wonder why they take advantage of you. Because you let them. Now I didn't say this was going to be easy. I didn't say tonight's discussion was going to be easy. Because we have to face some realities about ourselves and take accountability for it. And it's not blaming. What it is saying, guess what? I was in a messed up, screwed up, fouled up relationship. Or I was in a series of messed up relationships. Or whatever it was. And because of that, I'm always the giver, the giver, the giver, the giver, the giver. I make everything right. I make everything right. I do everything for everybody else. And I'm the punching bag. And I'm the dumping ground. And I'm the doormat. And now I've become that so much that now I've taken that personality on in certain areas, maybe not all, but certain areas of my life, to the point that now I look at life through the lens of a victim. And life is now happening to me at every turn. And I don't understand why I can't get the relationships and the situationships that I really and truly deep down inside want. Everybody always leaves me. I get abandoned. Nobody understands me. It is okay to be the fixer. Giggle, you said something a little earlier, that it's okay to help someone heal as long as they ask for it and want to do it. That is very true. You cannot want it more than the other person wants it for themselves, though. What happens is we get entangled in these situations. It is a series of entanglements, and we give over our power, sometimes not so much because we want this, never really, that we want this person to have power over us, but we feel like if we become less than, that somehow our power and we give it to them, they can become more. As we decrease, they increase. I'm sorry, but ain't none of y'all God. Ain't now one of y'all that's seeing this right now and gonna watch it later. Ain't now one of y'all Jesus. If you are, happy Easter, happy Resurrection Day, belated. Ain't now one of y'all. Okay? You giving your power to the other person is not going to help them to heal. It's like you gave them the oxygen mask first before you put yours on and the plane fixing to crash. Now you can't be a help to nobody. The boat sinking and you putting a life preserver on everybody else before you put it on yourself. And probably on the one that stepped on your toe when you was getting onto the cruise in the first darn place and was rude and darn near shoved you off the boat trying to get to the buffet. But you gonna put it on them first. Come on now. You cannot get entangled. And that's what happens is as we get further and further entangled into other people's mess, we end up developing. I'm going to make this bigger. Y'all might not see my face. Oops. Not that one. It's not going to get no bigger for us. There we go. We end up acquiring the personality trait. We end up developing a victim mentality. Because we become accustomed to taking a subservient and a doormat role. We become accustomed to handing over our power because we do not understand that maintaining our power is actually the best way to serve others. The best way to serve is to come from a point of authenticity and empowerment. It is very difficult to be a guiding light when your light is so dim, I can't see it. And when you give away your power, you are giving away your light, your wisdom. When you are giving away your power, you are giving away your ability to guide. And then what can happen is we get in this sick cycle of doing it over and over and over and over again. And we build resentment. And then we're looking for the boogeyman under every corner. And we're looking for the abuser in everything. And that passive aggressive private resentment builds. And as it builds, we then begin to lash out. And as we lash out, we then become the abuser. Because we're trying to defend ourselves. Because we don't want to continue to give away our power, yet we continue to do it when no one asked us to give it away. We don't know how to get out of the cycle. Breaking the cycle of victim mentality means you break the cycle of allowing others to drain you of your energy and your power. You find out what it is within you that keeps you from knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. That you are wonderfully and beautifully created. Knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are of the divine. You are divine, small d, small g, God of the divine. that you are a powerful, beautiful, wonderful co-creator, and that you are loved, and that you are loved, and you deserve to be loved and respected and honored and cherished. Yeah. Yeah. That's how you come out of the victim mentality, because the moment you can come out of the victim mentality and become the victor, right? Then you walk in victory. And there's no more limiting beliefs. There's no more I have to wait for a handout. No more of that. Because now you know. See, even in the biblical story, right? When Jesus said that God gave him all power, the Father gave him all power, and then he hand that down to us. But we don't walk in it. We're so busy asking and asking and asking, because that's how we've been taught. You have to ask. You gotta ask. You're just a sinner. You're just a sinner. Unworthy. Then what was the point of redemption? Right? I mean, I'm just going to go by that. What's the point of redemption then? What was the point? Right? Wasn't that point so that we would have a consciousness, an understanding, an ability to have a relationship? Unfettered, unblocked, pure? Wasn't that the point? Why are you walking around saying you can't? A victim mentality says I can't without someone else to do for me. A victim mentality says everybody does these things to me and I have no power against it. And I'm asking you to look at yourself and say, wait a minute, that's not true. That's not true of myself. Let me go figure out where that started at. And let me let love heal it. Now, I'm going to go to a couple spots here. I don't know if Miss Mary is still here. Miss Mary asked, yeah, they never asked for it. So Miss Mary asked me, is it my belief that narcissists are, do I feel that narcissistic traits develop in childhood to teenage? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. They can be carried through adulthood. And then I do want to acknowledge Miss Townsend. If you can acknowledge and understand the fact of that that because you were put in that position as a child, being subjected to your mother's narcissistic traits, you can get that. That's a great place to start, because then you could start from there and start forgiving yourself for allowing yourself to be there. Because even though we weren't able to change it as a child, the spirit thinks that the spirit is eternal, so it only knows that. It doesn't know anything else. So forgiving yourself, forgiving her, and then allowing yourself to be healed and made whole from all of that, right? That berating and that putting down. If you can allow yourself to do that, then you begin to heal, and that will heal all the relationships you have afterwards. Yeah, you have to heal from that manipulation. You're used to being manipulated. If Is there a line between being victims and defending yourself? Wow. Yeah. When someone says that I have done something that I haven't done, and it's rather offensive, or they do something, if they do something that's rather offensive, or kind of like, why would you do that? You could go to them and say, hey, that wasn't cool. That wasn't cool at all. And let me tell you why, I feel this way. This is how that came off to me. If they didn't mean to cause you any harm or whatnot, usually that person will accept it and be like, man, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it that way. Blah, blah, blah. And y'all can come to some kind of agreement. Other times you just put them on notice that, man, I saw you. Right? And then we just go from there. So defending yourself is very different, because to me, even defending yourself is taking your power and saying, hey, you know what? That ain't cool. That's a boundary you can't cross. Let me explain why. So I don't have a problem with defending yourself. Actually, victims don't defend themselves. It always happens to them. So victims never defend themselves. They'll lash out, but they're always lashing. They'll lash out. Some that have turned into that passive aggressive will lash out, and then they're dogging the other person out and talking about him and saying all kinds of crap. When you go from being the victim to victor, you lose and cut people out. You do. That aren't on the same level. You do. I'm trying to be sure that if Brochet, I hope Brochet is still in here. Brochet, I'm gonna tell you something. In healing from things that were never acknowledged, things that happened to you as a child. Sometimes we have to also come to grips with the fact that we're just never going to get that closure nor that acknowledgement. Sometimes we can. But I have also found that if you can find a trustworthy individual to kind of to share what's happened, and then at least have someone as a stand-in, a substitute, acknowledge what happened. And if you could do that from a spiritual standpoint, it is so powerful. Because the healing can happen even without the closure and the apology from the person that perpetrated I'll say crime. Because I think no matter what, it's a crime to injure someone in any capacity, a child, a teenager. It's a crime. It was hard because even when I knew something was wrong, my mom would gaslight. Yep. Saying I was too sensitive and she was never wrong about anything. Yeah, it's difficult when you're dealing with that, especially a narcissistic parent, and that's probably something I need to delve into and talk a lot more about, is dealing with narcissistic parents. That you could get out of a bad relationship. It's much more difficult when that's your parent. And then what do? You don't want to cut your parents off, but somehow you got to learn how to defend yourself against your parents. That ain't nothing nice. Okay, guys. I really hope that this at least began to open. Oh boy, Tyler. I really hope that this began to open up an avenue, a way for you to recognize it, identify it, and then grow. That was my goal of this discussion tonight. So we're going to close this out because some people don't want to be around you anymore because they don't like your newfound power. Now, that's true, honey. And you know what? Bye. That's on you. That ain't on me because I'm sure enough not going back. Hey, Miss Leah, how you doing, honey? Yeah, I'm going to stop talking tonight, y'all, because I'm still not 100%. So I need to stop talking. Yeah. Okay. Guys, don't forget, like this video, put some comments down there, share it, ask your folks to come and watch it. When they subscribe to the channel, then they will, and then they like and comment and say you sent them, you're going to get an extra entry into my subscriber giveaway. Okay. For that $50 Amazon gift card, we're giving that away on May 1st. Okay, guys? If my mouth is up to snuff, I might put out a few May readings. I wouldn't count on it because I'm just trying to rest. Okay, guys? All right. I'm going to let y'all go. Peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. I love you guys. Namaste. Bye-bye.